In today's reading, you gotta love how practical this gets. We're talking in Deuteronomy chapter 19 about cities of refuge, which are protection for people who accidentally kill people. You're thinking, accidentally kill someone? How does that happen? Listen to this in 19:4. This is the provision for the manslayer, who by fleeing there may save his life. If anyone kills his neighbor unintentionally without having hated him in the past, for example, as when someone goes into the forest with his neighbor to cut wood, and his hand swings the axe to cut down a tree, and the head slips from the handle and strikes his neighbor so that he dies, he may flee to one of these cities and live. And God is being so thorough in this law to protect justice so that people might flourish. So he's acknowledging the reality sometimes people die on accident. And what usually happens when someone is hurt in that way? What do we see through the cycle of history? We see a chain of revenge. That if you hurt my family member, I'm going to hurt your family member. And we just keep going until the bodies rack up. That's what we see in the surrounding cultures. But what God offers here is a provision, a safety. It's called the horn of salvation. So if I accidentally killed someone in your family, I would then go on the run and you would not be allowed to chase me. I would not be bumping up into you every day at the grocery store to remind you of your loss and those wounds so that you're not wanting to get revenge on me. I could go and start a new life. It would be a loss for me, but I could go start a new life somewhere else by grabbing onto the horn of salvation. I don't have to pay back my life for that accident if there was no evil, no hatred harbored in my heart. And here at the end of the chapter is where we see a phrase that has been taken on for centuries since. It's chapter 19, verse 21. Your eye shall not pity, it shall be. This is the rule for how we punish murder. This is not what we were just talking about, like that no hate in your heart. This is for actual murder. A life for a life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. That's what justice will look like in Israel. And again, this is not a one-to-one correspondence of ancient death penalty, modern death penalty. But this is, in this culture, this is a remarkably restrained view of justice. This is what is put in place to prevent cycles of vengeance carrying on throughout generations in a mafia-style way. This is God saying there will be justice, but only so much. That God is restrained. Why? Remember, every time the law comes back to, so that human beings might flourish. Now, as I read chapter 19, there's one New Testament passage that keeps circling in my mind. In this chapter, we see that there are consequences for death. There are consequences for sin. And I hear Jesus saying the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. You know, and I need to fact check myself. That might have been Paul. But the wages of sin is death, and the gift of God is eternal life. Comes back to seeing how God is quite merciful, contrary to what we might jump to believe about the law. Where we mess up on accident, on purpose, there are consequences. The wages of sin is death. But the gift of God that comes to us over and over is a fresh start, eternal life, an end to the violence, an end to the evil. No, so for you today, as you go on with your life, are there ways you're causing other people pain? And what does it look like to stop that? To repair, to bring life back into the relationship? Are there people who have caused you pain where you want to replay that? You want to soak up the vengeance, to make them pay? What does it look like to offer life by way of forgiveness? The kind of forgiveness that God offers to us. Blessings on you, friend, and we'll see you tomorrow.